You guys want to do a quick pivot and talk about culture war bullshit for a second? Yippee! My favorite. Speaking of TikTok, did you guys know they're making a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie? Did you know that? I'm sure it'll be great, just like the live action Little Mermaid and the live action, you know, The Lion King. Movies which, by the way, have made a lot of money, you know, in spite of being horrible. It's not Disney. It's not Disney, but they sure are following in Disney's footsteps. You've seen the live action Minecraft movie yet? Well, considering the fact that it's not out, no. And after it does come out, also probably no. Aren't they doing a live action Lilo and Stitch? They're doing a live action Moana right now. They're doing a live action Moana. They got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson loaded up for it. Moana isn't even that old. They just want money, man. Likewise with this. Is he playing as Moana? I assume so. All right, so anyway, let's watch a, I don't know, really racist lady.
What the f***? And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race.
They did the live action casting and they made the white girl black girl. I don't know if this lady's actually black. Black, brown, not white. I don't know. Racism jump scare. There's going to be a lot of it for the whole video. So just gird your, you know, fasten your seatbelts. Refill your pop. Do you enjoy racism? Refill your popcorn. You're going to love this next part.
Because this is a story about Vikings. Look at the real Astrid. Blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, people love...
So I like the real Astrid bit there. The real historical figure, Astrid there.
To throw out the term whitewashed a lot, but I would really love to discuss what kind of color washing is happening to every live action movie that comes out now. Didn't need it. Definitely didn't need it. Still don't want it. And here you guys are basically making the line. I really like this one in particular because
that is a witch in a fantasy world and she is green. I like the idea that there's an underlying racial identity to the Wicked Witch of the West. It's the West, right? I haven't seen... It's the West, right? Is it the West? That's pretty woke to say that the West is wicked. Hold on a second now. Wait. I'm operating in the logic of like the modern conservative culture warriors, okay? Saying that the West is the wicked. I see what they're doing. They wouldn't go out with a wicked witch of the East, would they? Because then that would be anti-woke. That'd be anti-China. A real anti-woke Wizard of Oz, they would say the wicked witch of the East sent us COVID. The East one is evil too, I think. I haven't seen the movie in a really long time. That's her sister? All right, I believe you. Do we get to see the Wicked Witch of the North and South? Wait, who's the Good Witch? Where is the Good Witch from? The North. Do we ever see the witch from the South? No. Fascinating. Yeah, she was stopped by the border wall.
Still don't want it. And here you guys are basically making the Lion King live action with How to Train Your Dragon. Just because you hired real actors does not mean...
Do you get it? The Lion King live action? Because it's like Africa? I get it.
...that you're not going to have to CGI half that movie. That's not even the point. I was willing to let go of the CGI thing when you weren't going to do another race swap. What is so hard about staying true to the original stories? Do we have to keep reinventing them? Because obviously no one liked...
Okay, I'm going to, at risk of sounding like I'm agreeing with this lady, did they actually make this lady right here Snow White? Yes? That's pretty funny. All right, okay. I'm not... It's literally like the one characteristic that she's known for and named for, but they know. That's pretty funny. You can't convince me it's not rage bait. I'll talk about this. I want to be clear, okay? This lady is a racist rage baiting dipshit. She's literally complaining about race swapping a green witch in Narnia or whatever, the Wizard of Oz. Like, obviously this is not born of any, you know, what about historical realism and How to Train Your Dragon? What about the real dragon? The real dragons, I'll tell you, you know, the dragon in the original animated movie, also black. Real Nordic dragons would be white. I think there is a white dragon in the second one. I don't know. I didn't see it. I only saw the first one. I will say this though. The racial casting that they do in the Disney live action remakes, but also obviously How to Train Your Dragon kind of fits in the theme as well because they're being inspired by the Disney live action remakes, are some of the most cynical examples I've ever seen of, like, I was about to say toothless, and then I realized I saw it in chat because it was a reference to the thing. So they're the most like insincere, ineffectual displays of progressive intent that you could possibly invoke, you know? Look, representation matters, I get that. The thing that most reminds me of it, or the thing that most comes to my mind, is the live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, where if you saw, I haven't seen it myself, I have seen the Lindsay Ellis video on it, great video, the Lindsay Ellis video on the remake, I mean, and the live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, horrendous, and also pretty regressive, like sexist, but to like modernize it, to like update it, you know, because it's sexist in ways that they're not smart enough to understand, you know. They also have Belle, the lady, be like a big feminist, and there's 1 second of a gay character. You know what I mean? So in terms of the messaging of the story, it is far more reactionary. Like the movie itself is reactionary compared to the original, but it's like being dressed up with progressivism because you make, you know, if they had made Belle black, I mean, good Lord, can you imagine how progressive that might have been? I don't really remember what the messaging was with How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, he trains the dragon. Is it like, it's like an autism thing, right? Like he's like a weirdo. The guy's like a skinny weirdo and all the other Vikings are like big and beefy. It's very pro disability too. That's nice. That's nice. I remember enjoying the first movie. I'm not like anti, it's a disability story. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm not at all anti How to Train Your Dragon. I just haven't seen it. I saw it once when it came out. And that was it. I think that's sweet. I didn't see any of the sequels. Okay, I will say this though, okay? I would like it if you want to do a remake, first of all, you. If you're doing a live action remake of an animated movie, to begin with, you, I hate you. But leaving that aside, if you want to zhuzh it up and make it more like progressive, make the story more progressive. Senseless race swapping doesn't really do anything there. And I know what you're going to say, right? Like, who cares if Ariel from The Little Mermaid is white or black? Certainly not me. You know who does? They do. The studio execs, which is why they did it. It's not like they just rolled the dice. It's not like they, you know, woke up and they were like, I have no preconceived biases at all. I guess we're going with a black actress, you know? Of course they're doing it because they're trying to appeal to the narrative of inclusion and so on and so forth. And hey, inclusion, diversity, that's great. I love that. I'm a woke boy, you know? But you have to be like substantive in how you do this sort of thing. And yeah, I do think it's a little bit silly that Snow White is a brown girl in a live action remake, and I, you know, for reasons that I hope are incredibly self-evident to anyone watching and understanding what I'm saying in good faith, it is self-evidently funny. And if you're doing a story about literal Vikings, like, yeah, they're probably all gonna be white. Like, were there black Vikings? Probably, yeah. The Vikings were like a big colonizing, seafaring group. The Vikings traded all up and down and around the Mediterranean. But if the story is about a Viking community that like lives and is insular and kind of like is in their own, you know, they're just like living it up in their little Viking village or whatever, they're probably all going to be white. I guess it would just be kind of cool if you were going to have a black Viking in a kid's story. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if it was like you were more seafaring and trading like around the Mediterranean, and there was a black character from a different culture, and part of the narrative and message of the story incorporated that, rather than it just being like, oh, there's just like 21st century multiracial multiculturalism incorporated into our 1,000 years ago village. You know what I mean? You get what I mean, right? That's all I'm calling for, is for people to try harder when it comes to being progressive in this, you know? Yeah, like they pick up a Moorish dude or something. I like that. It's just weird, you know, in a time where people were so tribal, like 1,000 years ago, yeah, they were more tribal then than they are now. The people had to cross some pretty remarkable barriers to have communities that were multiracial, right? Like people trading up and down the Mediterranean, or like what is in modern day Turkey. You have this like strip of land on the the eastern coast of the Mediterranean where there's like an insane level of racial diversity. You know, in like for thousands of years, you have like in one area, you have like olive-skinned people who live there in the Levant, and you have like Arab, and you have very dark-skinned people who come up from Africa, and you have very pale-skinned people who come down from the, you know, from the northern reaches of Scandinavia, and like they're but that's like an interesting thing to get into, I guess, and it doesn't really get spoken to if it's just like, oh yeah, well in the original animated everyone was white, but now there's a brown chick. And again, nothing that I'm saying here has anything to do with what this bitch is rambling about, because she's just like upset that there are black people. It's a completely different thing. I'm just asking for more. You know what I mean? Well, I'm asking for more high quality engagement with you know, diversity. I'm asking for less live action remakes, please. That being said, are you guys ready for the blowback when they come out with live action Frozen and like somehow Elsa and Anna are two different skin tones? They're all pale as snow in the animated, and it's going to be like a one white girl and one like olive skin girl. Yeah, one Chinese, one Native American. Bring it in. Absolutely. I hate Frozen. So to me, that would just be like, it would be the end of Western civilization. It would be. Do you think this creates a dichotomy where we have two modes, racist and non-racist? We never escape this dialect. I mean, look, to be clear, we all grew up in an era where there was a ton of diversity in our media, and people just didn't comment on it as much, because at that time you couldn't make a six-figure income by pretending that the West is falling because someone put a black person in a cartoon, you know? Now you can. Back then, that wasn't a thing yet. So back in the 1990s, you know, you're watching Hey Arnold, or if Ed, and Eddie came out today, people would be like, I don't know, Rolf is a caricature of like Central or Eastern or Northern or somewhere European traditional folk, and is racist against proto-white people, and Johnny is a something, I don't know, they would say some crazy shit. They would say some insane shit. I don't even know what they would say. We all know how they'd say, or what they'd say about The Last Airbender, right? But like, Hey Arnold, you know, you're watching Hey Arnold. You're telling me this inner city urban area has a multicultural, you know, library of characters? Oh my God, you're right. They would be whining about how strong the Kanker sisters are. You're so right. It would be like every time they showed up. What? How are you seriously telling me these three girls who grew up in a trailer park are able to outmuscle even Ed, let alone Double D or Eddie, who are still males, by the way. But Ed and Kevin, who are the people who wrote this, honestly? And then they're looking through a list of like Cartoon Network animators and writers who are all like guys in their 40s who wear button-up shirts 3 times too large when they go into the offices in 1999 to write another episode about, you know, getting Jawbreakers for a quarter or something. Who wrote this? These woke Lindy? I bet she's a feminist. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, they would say like Double D is trans or something. I mean, everyone says that now.
Except for the loudmouth stars that you choose to do them, of course.
Oh, hold on, wait. Let's like go back just a second so we can get the point that was being made.
What is so hard about staying true to the original stories? Do we have to keep reinventing them? Because obviously no one likes them.
Wait, how are you reinventing the story because the girl's a darker tone? That's not really the story. That's just the skin tone. It's not really the story, though. Though it is, again, in Snow White's case, that is particularly funny. I guess, like, if you're self-conscious about racial politics in remaking Snow White, you have to just not make Snow White, right? She's literally called Snow White because her skin is as white as snow. There's just no getting around that. You know, like, it's pretty straightforward.
Except for the loudmouth stars that you choose to do them, of course. Because here is the new Astrid saying, I could never do America Ferrera's interpretation of Astrid because I am not her. Well, then maybe you shouldn't be her.
Why would your ability to perfectly replicate the performance of a voice actress in an animated film determine whether or not you'd be a good pick for them in a live action film? Like, actors say this all the time about adaptations. This is like the default thing you say if you're an actor and you're doing an adaptation. Like, literally, like, it's the most normal thing to say. You know what I mean? America Ferrera's like the proudest Latina. You don't understand, okay? It was the original Nordic villages populated by Vikings just had very Latin vocal tonalities, okay? Does she have an issue with that? Like, is it woke that America Ferrera was the original voice actress? Wouldn't, from your perspective, wouldn't you be like, oh, of course you wouldn't want an actress who replicates America Ferrera's performance, because you would actually want someone who talks whitely. What does white talking sound like? I don't know. I probably do it a lot though. So maybe just have me voice act Astrid. I would do a good job.
I am not her. Well, then maybe you shouldn't be her. Honestly, I think we're at the point where we can start calling this cultural appropriation. You know,
It's not. I get that it's like haha, we're turning the term around on you, but that's not even close to what the term means. It's very shrill and annoying. This is a child. No, this is an adult. But they're doing like a fake Disney adult kind of thing. I think this is like a reclaiming culture sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, now that Trump won, we're going to get a bunch of people pretending to be normal, middle of the road, disaffected Americans, but who are just sick and tired of the woke or whatever. She's appropriating Disney adult culture, if anything.
I was willing to let go of the mermaid thing and the blue fairy thing and all these things because those are just mythological, made-up things. But now you're just distorting history so that you can effectively pander.
You laugh, but after Donald Trump's second term, he destroys the Department of Education. Our children will be watching the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon in their history classes. You laugh, but soon this is all we'll have. They're not going to be reading textbooks.
I hear a lot of people complain that we don't talk about Black history enough. Well, yeah, maybe it's because y'all are busy stealing everyone else's history.
Got him. Ha! Edgy, thoughtless zinger. Don't put too much thought into it, folks. She didn't. When she hits you with the blackwashing accusations, so unsubstantiated, you have to hit her with the white man portrayed as Egyptian pharaoh stare. That'd be a good emote. I relate to that guy. Whenever I nail a dap, like out there in the real world, I feel like him. Anyway, this video popped off because, I don't know, the West is falling or whatever. Mouse with a mouth. Ugh. All stream VODs on Rumble. Oh, man. Oof. That's crazy. People still dab? Dap. You goddamn cockazoid. What's dap? I can't help you guys. I feel old. No, you feel white. There are 82-year-old black men in the Bronx who dap, okay? You don't feel old, you feel white. This isn't a new Zoomer trend thing. Become am the sandwich. That may be unfamiliar to one with your complexion. But trust me, this won't hurt. You think Measurehead could dap it up good? Probably. That should have been like a roll. And if your athletics was too low, he just breaks your hand, or you lose like a health point. What are you chirping about? Got something you want to say? Here's a public platform. Nope. Now you're quiet. Now you're quiet.